Good morning, everyone. My name is John Furlong, and I'm running for re-election. Just kidding, this is my senior moment. So I wrote this speech like I pretty much wrote all my papers in high school, meaning I completely forgot about it until yesterday afternoon and said to myself, oh shoot, I've got this thing in the morning, don't I? Now, to be perfectly honest, before I started to write, first I ate about half of a rotisserie chicken. I took a nap on my living room floor. I woke up and drank about 2 things of 5-hour energy, cried a little bit, just a little bit. Then I rewatched 3 episodes of The Office. Now, at this point, it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I had written, nothing. I had really procrastinated. I tried texting my friend Corey and asked if he would write this for me. He said, no, it's senior spring, I don't do work anymore. Seeing as I had no other choice, I decided to roll up my sleeves, sit down at my computer, and email Miss Josephine to see if I could get out of speaking today. Unfortunately, my Wi-Fi, similar to the Wi-Fi at Derryfield, was malfunctioning and I was unable to do so. Now, I was starting to panic a little bit. I thought to myself, okay, what have other students done for their senior moment? Well, most people usually talk about their individual triumphs or their stories of success. Then it came to me. What if I do the exact opposite of that? What if instead of telling you about my best moments at Derryfield, I talk to you about my worst moments and make a complete fool of myself? Oh yeah, that's perfect. So here I am today, about to tell all of you about my most embarrassing moments throughout my last 7 years here at Derryfield. Let's start with 6th grade, shall we? So there I was, at the Londonderry Town soccer fields. It was a youth league B-team game, so the competition was fierce. The ball had just gone out of bounds, and I had gone over to the sideline to throw it back into play. Now, backtracking a little bit, early that day, my mom had just come home from the grocery store with a giant box of fiber bars. She had told me to only eat 1, so being the rebellious preteen that I was, I had 4. As I went to throw the soccer ball back into play, I realized why she had only wanted me to eat 1. So I threw in the ball like this, and when I went to lean forward, I accidentally farted right in the face of my teammate's dad, who was sitting right behind me. Now, as I jogged back onto the field, I prayed that he didn't hear it or smell it, but I was wrong. Oh my God, he yelled, did John just crap his pants? Now, for the record, I did not, but suddenly the game seemed to stop and all eyes were on me. I was petrified. Everyone was laughing except for me, who was crying a little bit on the inside. I was hoping people would forget the whole incident, but the joking continued for the rest of the season and on to the next one. Now moving on to 7th grade. That year, the middle school musical was High School Musical. Ironic, I know. Anyway, after auditioning, I had been cast for the role of Ryan Evans. Now, this character was rather flamboyant and had a very vibrant wardrobe. I think I have some pictures, actually, of what I had to wear. There's me right there. There's another one. And then, that's me at the end. Now, oddly enough, the embarrassing moment I want to talk to you all about happened off stage and had nothing to do with what I was wearing. At the time, I was dating this girl, Emily, and after the show was over, emotions were just so high that we ended up sharing a kiss right there in the wings of the stage. Now, little did I know, from where we were standing, my entire family, including my parents, siblings, grandparents, and some of my cousins, could see the 2 of us publicly displaying our affection from the audience. Now, that was one awkward car ride home. Now, in the interest of time, I'm going to skip over 8th and 9th grade, besides they were pretty embarrassing years for everyone. So, in 10th grade, I went on a student exchange to South Africa, and my host family lived on a winery and made wine for a living. One night, they took me to this really fancy dinner party with a lot of other local winemakers. There was a lot of good food at this party, and I was snacking the entire night. At one point, I was talking in a circle with a bunch of people, and someone asked me which food I liked the best. I pointed over to this bowl at the end of the table and said, oh, I really like those biscuit things at the end. I had a ton of those. Everyone gave me this really puzzled look until someone finally broke the silence and said, yeah, those are dog treats. They all roared with laughter and kept making comments like, ha, what an American. I felt like such a disappointment to my country. Now, before I talk about 11th and 12th grade, I would like to share an epiphany I had before the start of my junior year. Up until my sophomore year of high school, I was a very shy and timid person. I wasn't outgoing, I usually walked around with my head down, and I would often just keep to myself. However, when sophomore year ended, I had a realization. I didn't really have any friends. To be honest, social interactions frightened me. I was too scared of rejection or ridicule. But this also meant that I was missing out on a huge part of my high school experience, and I decided that I would make a change. In the past, whenever embarrassing things happened to me or whenever things didn't go like I thought, I would tend to shut down and feel sorry for myself. I vowed to start opening up and actually start to make an effort to let people get to know me. Even though embarrassing things would still happen to me, I would learn to not let myself feel embarrassed and instead laugh about myself alongside other people, kind of like what I'm doing today. All right, so back to the funny part. Now, in 11th grade, I took physics with Mr. Cousino, and one of the projects he had us do was make a video explaining Newton's 3 laws of motion. Now, rather than explaining what happened, I'm just going to show you a clip from the video that me and Annalise Gross made explaining Newton's 3 laws. This is his 3rd law of motion. On here, sharpshooter, shooting Sally, take her to her light, sharpshooter here. Now, that was the first time I'd ever witnessed a gun being shot before, and I also had no idea that Anna was going to fire it at that exact moment. Now, unlike other embarrassing things that had happened to me in the past, I embraced this moment. In fact, I took the liberty of showing this clip to all of my friends. I even showed it to some people that I didn't know, and I even showed it to some of my teachers. Now, moving on to 12th grade, I figure all of you probably remember how during the Halloween assembly, I fell on the curtain while doing a backflip. So I had to pick a different embarrassing moment from my senior year to talk about, which wasn't really a hard task at all. So my friends and I, we were at Max Curtin's house watching the Patriots game over Thanksgiving break. And at one point that night, I was walking back to Max's living room from the bathroom, and I saw his dad coming through the front door. He looked at me and said, "Oh my God, look who it is. It's so great to finally see you again. How's it going?" Now, I was a little taken aback since I didn't really know Max's dad that well, and we had never really talked before. Regardless, I didn't want to be a rude house guest, so I went up to him and said, "Oh, it's so great to see you too, Mr. Curtin. I've been doing well. How about you?" I went to shake his hand, but he just turned to me and gave me this really weird look and said, "Oh, hey, Tom." At that point, I realized that Max's sister was standing right behind me, and Max's dad was actually talking to her since she had just arrived back home for Thanksgiving and he had not seen her in a couple months. My friends all witnessed this moment, and even though I felt extremely awkward, we all laughed about it together. Now, over the years, one group of people that I've learned to laugh with and share my embarrassments with has been my family. I have 3 younger siblings, and I think I have a picture of all of us. No. There we go. So that's all of us. So that's Jordan, the youngest, then Colleen, then me, the oldest, then my brother Matt. I know what you're thinking, and no, Matt is not adopted. Now, my siblings and I, we all love to play pranks on each other and embarrass each other. For example, for my 18th birthday, my sister posted this video of me on her Instagram saying, "Happy birthday, John, love you." As you can imagine, I wasn't very happy about this. Now, as a way to get back at my sister and also make fun of my other siblings in the process, I posted this video on my Instagram for National Siblings Day.
Love you, Matt. Love you. Matt. Jordan!
Stop! Stop!
Love you. Ah!
Now, I thought I was so clever, and I went up to my sister and said, "Ha, I showed you." She rolled her eyes at me and replied, "John, I wouldn't even care if my own friends saw that video. You really think I care about what some nerds at the academy think of me?" Now, a brief side note on this. All my siblings go to Londonderry, and they like to refer to Derryfield as the academy. They know it's called Derryfield School, but they still call it the academy. Now, for some reason, they all think Derryfield is like this really preppy school. I don't know why, but so they'll always jokingly ask me questions like, "Oh, John, how'd your polo match go today at the academy? Or was it squash?" Or questions like, "Why, John, don't you think what you're wearing is out of the academy's dress code? I mean, it's not Vineyard Vines." But I digress. Going back to what my sister said, it really resonated with me. She was right. She shouldn't have to worry about what some random kids at the academy think of her, and she shouldn't even have to care about what her friends think of her. The only opinion that matters in life is our own. We all go through some pretty cringeworthy moments from time to time. But if we learn not to judge others, then others won't judge us. I used to be a very introverted person, but then I started to have more confidence in myself and stopped overthinking everything. Once I started just being myself, people accepted me for it, and now I have a great group of friends. Now, at the beginning of the speech, I think I told you that you would all hear about some of my worst moments, and I was wrong about that. Even though they might have been embarrassing, I'm not ashamed of them, and I don't wish that they never happened. Sometimes you just have to be willing to celebrate your embarrassments. Like the time when you had to cross-dress for your 7th grade Latin skit. Or that time when your friend got into Photoshop back in middle school. And I mean really into Photoshop. Like that time when you just weren't having it at your 10th grade retreat. Or when you discovered the photo booth app on your laptop. Or finally, when you accidentally wore the same outfit as your co-host for the talent show of your junior year. In short, life would be pretty boring if you could never laugh at yourself once in a while. Now comes to the part of the speech where I guess I'm supposed to give you some advice. But if you learned anything from this speech, it's probably that I'm one of the most least qualified people to give any sort of guidance. I mean, I did eat dog food. But if I were to give you any advice, it would be this. Don't listen to other people's advice. Or do. Honestly, it's your life. Do what you think is right, and don't worry about what other people think. Be yourself. Thank you.